Autism. Does it need a cure? Does it need management? Does it need more understanding and compassion? Let's talk about that. Welcome back to a new episode of Logical A Meets World. My name is Chris. I founded this channel through inspiration of many other channels on autism and neurodiversity. I was going to completely erase that part because just like being out in the real world trying to interact with people, I hate screw-ups and I hate screwing up. I have spent the last several hours trying to figure out and ideally script how this is going to go in my head, just like each video. So, with that being said, I want to thank you kindly for stopping by the channel. If you're new here, I want to thank you very much. If you're returning, welcome, and I thank you as well. If you do like the topic and subject matter of autism, please consider liking this video as it does help move it along. You can also subscribe and ring the bell if you want. Now, that being said, today's video is really kind of dissecting what is management, what is a supposed cure for autism? Is there a cure for autism? Now, I know many times it can be said that suppressing anything that affects your health is not a cure. There are thousands and thousands of ailments that people go through where they are taking drugs, doing some type of therapy to manage the condition. That is not a cure. So let's just get that out of the way. If there are cures for things, that means that ailment is no longer a bother to you. And that's always a good thing. Now, for the umpteenth time, from what I have read, there is not a cure for autism. This is a wiring thing. This is a neurological thing. This has everything to do with development in the brain. So I'm going to pause real quick. I'm going to show you a couple of pictures. And we're going to revisit those pictures about the end of the video today. Now, getting back to this. There are plenty of behaviors in neurotypicals that we as autistics find confusing and even weird. Get that. Now, this doesn't invalidate how anyone is supposed to experience life, since most of life happens on an individual basis. We're just sharing with a wider audience from time to time. So, when it comes to management and things that maybe in the title, or maybe there's a chyron about it that says, ooh, possible unlocking of cure for autism, or we believe this can cure autism. Here are a list of things that they prescribe as possible cures. Yet, if you read deep down, it talks about better managing the behavior or trait. So, the first is sulforaphane. It's something that you can find in things like broccoli sprouts. The next one is, and I don't know if I'm going to say it right, correct me in the comments if you know anything about this, especially if you're epileptic. Lamotrigine. The next one, ABA therapy. When it comes to this type of therapy, There are people who say that it's good, people that say that it is bad. I'm going to leave that judgment up for the wider audience. Gluten-free and casein-free diets. Ketogenic diets. Raising the blood ketones. I have talked to professionals about this, and they say that raising blood ketones is something that you have to be very, very careful with. CBD oils, gut health, pre and probiotics, vitamins, something called field control therapy. It's really, really new. Don't know much about it. However, some doctors stake the claim that it cures autism. A reduction in brain inflammation. Now, an inflamed brain is not something that's good for any brain, frankly. But a lot of what I saw has to do with, one, types of therapy that are designed to train you for responses to various input, whether it's coming from input from within you or from external sources in the world. Is this a cure? No. Things about diet and vitamins and supplements, these seem to be something that really everybody can benefit from. Being healthier, for longevity of life, for fewer health problems. Now, this is a very important point for autistics, as there are several different comorbidities that, along with autism, can affect how we live, even how long we live. This field control therapy. Don't know, again, much about that. CBD oil and cannabis and other things like that, other types of medications, antipsychotics, antidepressants, again, they're not cures. Will they help autistics manage day-to-day life with maybe fewer meltdowns or shutdowns or times where the world is just too much? It's a case-by-case basis. Some of these can help better, with management for some autistics, and some of these don't work for other autistics. But are they cures? No. And for those out there who might watch this video that want to say different, want to go back to the pictures, because what you're saying to the world is that these things can rewire physical parts of the brain. Really? We're building artificial minds called AI, affectionately. And we can use programming languages to correct those features. But you're telling me these things somehow physically interact in a way that corrects the wiring that was initially developed in the human brain? You're going to have to show me more than just saying that this works. I haven't tried everything on the list. I probably won't try everything on the list to see what manages and what doesn't manage. And I'll tell you why. Because for all of the case studies and research on these things where they say that it manages, the things that they leave out that could really go a long way are educating a world that finds autistic people, when they're unmasked, as weird, as strange, as what is wrong with you. Can't tell you how many times I have heard that one. What's wrong with you? For those with flat face, are you sad? Is there something wrong? Why are you angry? Not angry. not unhappy, just that's the way an expression of happiness does not have to be a smile. It can be other things. But because so many of the behaviors do not conform to what people are used to seeing, for everyone who has ever told me that, hey, you can just be yourself around me, I can't tell you how many people have just turned and walked the other way when they tell me this, because I take it so literally. Oh, I can be me, my authentic self. Okay, here's my authentic self. And the first sign of a trait or a behavior that pops up that they are uncomfortable with, rather than discussing it, rather than trying to understand it better, they find that it's easier just to leave. So, while placing all of this burden, all of this responsibility, which I'm fine with, on managing my autistic traits and behaviors, there is a whole flip side, a whole world that could stand to do with some knowledge and taking the time to understand those around them who are on the spectrum. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying that if we have to 100% commit to doing our best to mold ourselves in a world that we don't completely get, we don't completely fit in, it would be very nice, as I have said in previous videos, for the world to take a moment and do a little research on what autism is, what it means to be autistic, why so many of these things that are proclaimed cures actually are not cures. They are just methods to get us to fit a world that we just don't fit into, so that the world can avoid so many of the things they find uncomfortable about some of our behavior and traits. Now, I have also said this before, for all of this talk of inclusivity, because what you see, whether it's our stems or other types of behaviors that will come out from time to time, no matter how hard we mask, these things, for some reason, miss the mark of inclusivity. And I think it is high time that the world not go that route. If you are going to talk inclusivity, mean it. Just mean it. Another thing is, how about kindness and compassion? Because we are going to say things that you're not going to get. You could be offended, and we have no idea that we are offending you, that we have said something wrong, and in this day and age that we have used a frickin' word that doesn't mean what it means anymore, and we have no context or idea that this has changed. For us, change is a very fickle and complicated thing. So again, understanding that rapid change to most things, instant change or change that we have no idea about, deserves patience, compassion. How about maybe question things instead of throw insults, make assumptions? How about that? And I think the world as a whole could stand a lot more of that. How about take the time to understand that each of us is our own unique individual. Now, I know I have gotten way off track on this. I can't help it. It is shaping up to be one of those weeks where I probably have masked too much, I have hidden too long, and there are things that are just seeping out, and I'm just to the point where I'm not going to bother trying to self-censor any of what is happening here. In fact, I don't like to do that at all, because it is tiring. It can be debilitating for me. And these are things that, as hard as I fight through, sometimes it just gets the best of me. So Ultimately, the goal is for autistic people to try to manage what's going on to help them lead a more complete life. However, if you're going to put 100% of the load on us, there has to be something from the other side if we're going to be successful with this, whether it's friendships or marriages or dating or work environments and moving up various types of a job or corporate ladders. There has to be something on the other side. Otherwise, we are just not going to have the level of success that we would like to have. You know, for years, I bounced from one therapy or medication to another. And why I did that was because in the event of a meltdown or a shutdown or a day that was just a complete disaster from start to finish, I thought, well, this one isn't the one for me. This one isn't the one that I'm supposed to be on. And so I would seek out other ideas. It didn't matter whether it was 6 months or a year and a half, 2 years. When it failed to help me keep things managed, my first thought was that this one isn't the fix that I'm looking for. This was wrong. And over time, I have found that just because there was a moment or a day or a week that I just completely lost it, it didn't mean that what I was doing to try to manage things to give myself a fuller life wasn't working. Didn't mean it failed, just meant I'm human. And I'm imperfect, and there is no perfect thing. There's just a hope that what I am doing to manage things will give me a life that I would really like to have. A life that isn't contained in 4 walls with a hyperactive imagination of what could be, but actually getting into the world and shaping that to something that is real, that is effective for my life. Now, I'm not saying that none of these can have a long-lasting impact for people. But for God's sakes, stop using headlines like, could unlock to a cure, is a cure. We believe this cures. Because there isn't a cure. And if you ask most autistic people, they're not asking for a cure. What they are asking for is a bridge where we are met in a way that, even though we don't fit, with your help, instead of criticism for how we are, for which we did not choose to be, a hand forward, a hand of understanding. That would be the biggest form of management that you could help offer us. So I'm going to leave this video here. I understand that the rails weren't completely solid on this one. And again, it has nothing to do with the topic. It has everything to do with what's happening on the inside for me, which is generally very tough to get out. As always, I do want to thank you for stopping by the channel. If you liked or appreciated what was in this video, find yourself curious about the things I've talked about, please like the video. If you want more content on this, I have many other videos that I have done. So please subscribe or consider subscribing and ringing the bell so you can be notified when the next video is uploaded. If you're returning, again, thank you so much. I appreciate you more than I could ever describe. If you're one and done and just find this isn't for you, again, I thank you so very much for taking the time out of your busy day to stop by and even view the channel. Thank you. So until next time, everyone, try to have a good week. I'm going to see what happens with mine. And please take care. I look forward to seeing all of you on the next one.